I know we have a few minutes before we get started with our talk. I'm just trying to figure out all the logistics and everything here. I hope people can hear me. So we're trying to see if this all works here. All right, so let's see what we got here. And I am sharing this to my business page and we'll see what's going on. Okay, so let me see. We still have 2 minutes. So if you have questions and everything that you would like me to address, maybe you want to get some of them. Hey, can everybody hear me? I just want to make sure that the volume is okay. I'm doing this on my iPad, and we should be good. I'm out. Thank you, Lisa. Okay, but can you all hear me? I want to make sure that. Okay, great. Thank you, Kimberly. So let me see. I just want to go to the event page and share the event there as well. And then I also had a bunch of questions that people wrote to me there as well. So let me just do that as well. Oh, okay, it's not letting me do this on the phone. Okay. Hi, everybody. All right, well, you know what? I'm going to go to the event page anyway, and a bunch of people had written some questions that we can touch on, and we did that a couple of days ago. Okay, I got the questions up here. So how is everybody? Good, I see people starting to log in. I decided to do this at my home. So as you can see, all of the greenery, so I'm on my deck right now, and you know, it's a little less static and a lot prettier. You know, it's been a nice day. I hope everybody had a real good Labor Day so far. Actually, I'm going to also pick up my notes because I wrote down a couple of notes here. But while I'm doing that, I want to at first say I'm sending out prayers and thoughts to everybody in the Bahamas right now. So if we can all maybe take a moment and think about what is going on there and how lucky we are here not to have to deal with weather like that. And you know, a lot of the people in the Bahamas are insanely poor. So it would be nice to take a few moments to kind of realize how good we have it. I'm sending our thoughts and prayers out to everybody. Please, I hope you are as well. And to all of those in Florida, I have family down there. I have loved ones down there. I pray that it doesn't even hit the coast and it just, you know, stays out. So stay vigilant, everybody, and kind of check on everybody. Make sure that everybody is good and such. So with that, I hope Labor Day has been a good day of rest for people. I've been practicing all day today. Not my tarot, but my base. So I'm kind of taking a little me time today. So tarot talk. So I got a lot of feedback from our little intro that we did last time as to what people want, as to people wanting information about readings. I'd still encourage people to, you know, post here your comments and stuff. Kind of want this to be a little bit different than the average, hey, let me do a reading for you and all that other stuff. It wanted to be a bit educational. I wanted to gear it towards what you want. And also to readers out there, I'd love to get the feedback of other readers and maybe even talk about other forms of divination. People had asked about crystals and such. Oh, and forgive me, that is the 5 o'clock whistle that you hear. So for all you Cornwallians, you know what that's about, so forgive me on that, with that. But we'll have to deal with it, right? You'd hear it at the store anyway. So, hey, Hillary, it's good to see you. Judy, oh, I see a lot of good people. Fred, make sure you behave yourself, okay? You too, Michelle. So, what is tarot used for? what does it mean to you? Because I've been reading for, 30 years now, give or take a few. And it's pretty different from each client. Might be different to me than it is to others. My opinion with the tarot is that I'm not really telling the future. Alrighty. Hi, Rain. And people might get shocked at that. And when my clients come into me, they say, hey, I want my fortune told. Or when somebody's trying to be a little snarky with me and they go, oh, you're the fortune teller, you should know what's going on. And I'm like, I'm not really a fortune teller. Now, I'm just giving you my opinion, okay? I've even had people try to, come knock at my door and, Jesus saves. And I'm not trying to put down anybody's belief system, but, you shouldn't be doing this. And I'm like, shouldn't be doing what? And they say, telling fortunes. And I'm like, I don't tell the fortune. I don't tell anybody's fortunes. And so I have to laugh at that because my approach is that I'm helping somebody make a decision for the future. I'm not telling anybody what to do, but that's, in my opinion, taking away a person's free will. And I don't want to do that. But I'd like to think that I can help somebody make the best informed decision possible. And that's the reason why I'm doing things. Hello, Elaine. Hello, everybody. It's so nice to see so many people logged in here today. So that's great. So you kind of get the idea. So when I hit people with that, they're a little shocked. I guess that's TV, that's Hollywood. And there are others that I know that will actually say, I'm telling your fortune. But I'm not cookie cutter, and I can't say that true for anybody else. Hey, Cheryl. So I'm giving you my opinion and my approach. I think a good tarot reader should also understand a bit of psychology. I'm a big fan of Carl Jung. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing the name right. And Joseph Campbell. And there's a lot that goes on because especially if you use something like the Rider-Waite deck, there's a lot of mythology being told in that particular deck and others. I'm not going to say I'm an expert and I know what every deck says and what the meaning the artist wanted to in a particular deck. With that, I'm going to throw out a question to you, and I'd love to see the comments with that, alrighty? So, thank you, Cheryl. Hey, Hillary. Let me see. There was, actually, I'm looking at what Hillary says here. Yeah, there are those moments when it does come to you. And I agree with you, and that's our intuition coming through. Most good tarot readers and most good clients understand what intuition means, and over the years you learn to trust your intuition. And Hillary, I don't want to speak for you because I get those glimpses as well, and sometimes tarot is just a cheat. I just look at something and then I get a vision of something. But I don't want to talk for you, Hillary. But by the way, Hillary, that you see in the comments, is an excellent reader. So there should be a whole bunch of different people here that you could choose to work with if you're looking for a reading, by the way. And Hillary, if you'd like, put your information in, if you would. So, and Hillary also has a show too. Anyway, let me get back to the root question here. The question I'm going to throw out to you is, how do you pick your own tarot deck? Alrighty? Because a lot of people ask me that. But I'm curious as to what your process is in selecting that one tarot deck that, really, really, really works for you. For instance, my favorite decks are the Sacred Circle, the Sacred Rose, and the, I probably shouldn't use that word, but the typical Rider-Waite deck. Oh, look at that sun flare or whatever is going on over there. And I'm going to stay put. So with that in mind, those are the three most used decks that I have. I also use 2 or 3 different types of Lenormand decks, and sometimes I let the client pick the deck themselves or the type of reading that they want. Alrighty, so I'm just giving you an idea. So I'm like looking at this. Yes, we're talking about the different types of decks. Okay, Hillary put her information here. So, all right, nobody has answered that yet, but what? All right, here we go. Cheryl, I see what calls out to me when I'm looking. So, Cheryl, are we talking about the artwork in the deck? Because now I'm just going to play the, a devil's advocate, and I'm going to bring this just a little bit closer to see if I can do it. Get rid of some of that sun glare. All right, that helped out a little bit. With me, and correct me if I'm wrong, Cheryl, but it is the artwork that works for me. And if I make a connection right away, then I know that that's the deck for me. Is it too out there for me? There were some decks that really, I need to study it for a long time, and one of those was like the Dolly deck, which I love because the artwork is just amazing, but it's not something that I would use on a professional level. And that's not to put it down with anyone else. It's just what works for me or doesn't work for me. But I have that in my collection because the artwork is just amazing. Okay, Cheryl, again, it's just a feeling I get when I do readings that, hey, Chris, I let the customer pick the deck. But Chris, you still had to buy the deck. So what was it about that deck that drew you in and you spent the money to buy it? I sell a lot of tarot at my store, as I'm sure many other store owners here do. And, when I buy them, I look at the artwork and I go, okay, this might work, this might not work. But there'll always be that one or two that the artwork connects with me and I'll want to get for my own, for my own stuff. So I look at specific cards like the High Priestess, the Moon, the Fool. So you're looking at the major arcanas, Hillary. Oh, my brother is watching. Hi, Ray. That's really cool. So you get the idea. What works for you? With me, it's the artwork. What is the story being told? Alrighty, now you gotta understand, tarot has a long history. There's an older type of deck, and then there's a newer type of deck. And what I mean by the newer type of deck, we're talking about anything after the Rider-Waite-Smith on. Before that, the minor arcanas didn't have stories on the individual cards. But we'll get into that another time. And that's going into the history and stuff like that. But is it the artwork? Is it just the feeling that you get when you pick something up? Now, let's take it even a little further. What about the I call it a myth. People come into me and say, oh, I would love to buy a deck, but I know that you're not supposed to buy your own deck. It's supposed to be gifted to you. What do you think about that? Do you agree with that? Or do you not agree with that? Okay, I'm seeing a lot of people here. So, okay, reindeer, yep. Definitely the artwork of the deck. Unsure and unskilled to use an abstract art as a deck. Okay, I totally get that. So most people are looking at the artwork. Okay, Hillary, you use the Rider-Waite structured types decks. Yes, I agree. I agree. For me, it's the artwork. And that's Shireen. Hi, Shireen. And Jean is on. Yes. That is awesome. Okay, so Rain, who just posted, disagrees with the fact that the myth, or there's a saying that says you should only be gifted a tarot deck. And I wanted to find out what most people thought. You know, I didn't want to say that there's an absolute or not. Some people will still swear by that. But if the artwork doesn't agree with me, or the deck itself doesn't resonate with me, then how am I going to be an effective reader? If I had to wait for someone to buy my deck, I'd still be waiting. That is true. Total myth. That's right. I agree, Hillary. And I had my husband buy mine. Okay, Lisa, I get it. Norma, it's the artwork. You see, I agree with this. about 30 years ago. Okay, Dawn, I see yours. About 30 years ago, I believe that, but no more. See, I'm agreeing with you, you know, and I've jotted down some ideas for my own deck down the line. You know, who knows? One of my, you know, millions and billions of projects that I want to accomplish, you know, at some point. But yeah, I've never been gifted with a tarot deck personally. People have gifted me with tarot decks at the store, and they're used. They're not sealed. So what I do is when I teach at the store, I have decks that I can hand out to my students to use. And then when I do that, I put them on a table, and then they pick the deck that resonates with them, at least for that day. You know, it's the way that it kind of works for me. Hey, Sherry. Hello, Sabrina. And, oh, it's true. All right, so my brother writes, it's a shame you never got to have our grandmother's cards. And she's Puerto Rican, so she read the Spanish cards. So I know a bit about them. I can't read Spanish, but probably shouldn't say that. I can read some of it. But I would imagine that I would just allow my intuitive sense. If I had her deck, it's quite quite possible that I'd feel her energy. Anyway, I look just like her. Anyway, with that in mind, that would have been nice. So actually, my brother brings up a good point. What about cards that are handed down? Suppose the artwork doesn't resonate with you. What do you do then? I guess if that happened, I would keep the cards on my altar, because I have an ancestor altar, so that would represent her. I have her on my altar anyway. But, you know, what would you do in that case? Because there's a lot of people that have this in their families, and it's been taught. Not everybody has it as being a taboo. The energy world. I agree. So it makes a lot of sense. There's so many different things involved with this. I learned on right away, but must resonate. Yep. And that's my hubby talking. So that's why I wanted to throw this out, because I still have people coming into me saying, well, I can't, this is a beautiful deck, but I can't buy it. And to me, it's a myth. If you still work with that, or that's still your idea, that is fine. But as was said before, if I waited, I never would have gotten started. I walked into a shop one day and I said, you know what? For some reason, I want to do this. And I was already reading the tarot for probably over 10 years. And then I found out that my grandmother read from my mother. And I had no idea, because, you know, I wasn't supposed to, you know, that wasn't accepted. You know, all of that, you know, it's just fun or whatever. You know, it's just all superstition. Nah, it's not. You know, and tarot is not superstition. Tarot is lessons, life lessons. There's so much to it, and I'm pretty passionate about it, so I could probably just kind of go on and on and on. So let me see what we have here. You know, Jean, I don't know, because I never had a chance to see her deck, but I would have loved it. And one person says they never had the Rider-Waite deck. That's cool too. It's nice to see so many people here. But give me those give me the feedback, because I'm really, really curious about that. But yeah, what would you do? So again, my grandmother read. I didn't know it until I was already well on my path to do this. So now, go figure, it's become kind of like a career for me. And I love it. And that's the other aspect of it. I love it. And I did what most people did. I was like, oh my God, what is this? Oh, this is great. And then I started to read like every book in the world, because back then there weren't a lot of tarot classes. So I had to figure out what I wanted to do kind of on my own. And figure out what I needed to do. She said we were very young today. That's awesome, Ray. And you can see, you got to read all of the comments here. They're absolutely wonderful. So I'm trying to go back to where I was. But at the time there were no tarot classes for me, so I had to read whatever books were there, and then I took readings so I could see what that was all about. And there was a few in the city, and then when I moved up here to Orange County, New York, I found a couple of places locally for me to participate in community, and then I got to see what everybody else was doing. So it was really nice. Yeah, Sherry, you have the Visconti deck. That's great, and that's a beautiful deck, by the way. I love the artwork on that one. So there are probably as many tarot decks as there are people on the earth at this point. There are so many. I love all of this. I love that, yeah, each card is different. Oh, yeah, good. Thank you, Lisa, for bringing that up. If you're new to the tarot, think about trying different types of readings with different people. Alrighty? That might sound counterintuitive for a reader to say that. I should be the salesperson and say, hey, just come to me. It doesn't work that way. Not everybody is a good fit for everyone. Alrighty? I myself have readers. Alrighty? That I would go to. I try to read for myself, but I'm a pretty emotional person at times. I could be a little fiery at times. So sometimes it's better off to have somebody in my own group to read for me. And it really does help out. Or sometimes we'll all sit as a group and read for one another and get each other's opinions. Now there's lots of readers. But I would suggest going to different readers and see if they're a good fit. Alrighty? You don't have to go for an hour reading each time or something like that. But there's readings by phone, there's readings in person, readings by Skype. I do all of that, and I even do email stuff. Not everybody does that, but, well, I guess to accommodate, because I have a lot of clients all around the world that I do readings for, but so do many other readers. And you should give it a try and see which one is a good fit. If anybody says this is the way it is and that's the way it should be, and go to another person, okay? Because they should be willing to listen to you and understand that there are variables in everything. Alrighty? So just for instance, you could try a reading with me, you can try a reading with Jean, you could try a reading with Chris, you can try a reading with Tommy, you could try a reading, and once you do that, then you're going to go, you know what, I like this person's approach better. I'm not the right person for everybody, and there are others that say I am. So, who knows? But try that out. It's like, who has the best bedside manner and who gives you the best information and most, concise information. More bang for the buck. I know that sounds a little silly when I say it that way. And I'm kind of a little less witchy than most. Alrighty, so you can kind of get that from me. Hey Jody, it's good to see you. And Tamara's hello, hon, and Liz is on, and Robin is on. That's great. There's a lot of people. Oh, see, my brother's telling me all this. My grandmother read in the evenings. It's great. I didn't know, but I do know she read for my mom, and my mom loves this stuff. She still has me read for her. So with that in mind, find the reader that kind of works for you. There's no guarantees. As soon as I'm done with this show, I can go out and circumstances could be totally different, and who knows what's going to happen tomorrow. That's why I say it's advice for the future. Again, I'm not talking for everyone, but it kind of helps out. And I wanted to discuss this because it's kind of bringing you back to the very, very root of the matter. You know what I mean? And such. So that's why I wanted to kind of touch with that. Now, has anybody out there ever had a bad reading? I'm going to tell you a little story. A person many, many, many years ago. Now, I've been in business as Breed's Closet for about 20 years overall. And I've been in Cornwall for about 13 years. So a person came in to me, and she was very quiet. And if she's on, forgive me for telling the story. but I'm going to say it anyway, but I'm just not using names. And she came in and was very nervous to talk to me. And I said, I'm talking to her, and I could be a little gregarious and out there. And she was very nervous about having a reading. And I said, well, why? What is it about tarot that makes you nervous? And she said that somebody told her that her other half was having affairs with multiple people. And this was happening and that was happening. And it almost broke up her relationship. So I'm not naming names or anything like this. But don't you think that's kind of unethical? Seriously? I just want, I'm giving you that moment to think about it. She was so scared to talk to me. So what I wound up doing just to calm her down is I gave her a 10 or a 15 minute reading for free. I didn't charge. I just said, calm down, relax. Let's discuss this. I'm going to show you what each card means, and then you can decide for yourself. She's been coming to me ever since. And no, her husband did not do that, and there was none of that going on, and it was the most ridiculous thing I ever heard. But yes, a lot of people are agreeing. Is there any doubt? It's amazing. So I know that everybody's agreeing. It is very, very unethical. And I love you too, Sherry. With the competition with it, right, exactly. So, let me see here. Jean, I know this might seem a little off topic, but I'm having trouble lately with people on, pushing your boundaries and stuff like that. Yeah, we can talk about that, hon. But I'd like to know, what do you mean by pushing your boundaries? Is talking about the services that you're offering as far as your readings, or is there something else? So, hold that there. Ethics. So we kind of touched on that. And this poor woman was almost in hysterics. Can you really do that? When I still had my shop in New Paltz, another person had come into me for a reading, and again, very nervous. And this person had spent thousands of dollars with a reader who had him buy candles, and she was going to do prayers, and it got deeper and deeper and deeper to help take this curse off of him. And I know that this already sounds like it's Hollywood, but it happened. And I think he said he was down almost $3,000. He had to open up a card because she encouraged him to open up a card in order to pay for her services. Am I missing something here? I must be, because that doesn't work. And for any of those people that are out there, don't fall for that. Just don't fall for that. And I know many, we have other readers here. Don't fall for that. Don't go with that. It doesn't work. It's unethical. It's wrong. I'm not going to say what a good price is. I'm going to tell you right now, I charge $50 for a half hour and $95 for the hour. My time is worth it. I own a store. I have to pay rent. I have to pay the bills. That's the way it is. All right? I know that there are people who say that you shouldn't charge for that. Well, then I can't do it. It means I can't afford to work, and I would not be able to make a living. But I'd like to think that I'm very, very ethical. So there goes that whole money thing. Okay? There should always be an exchange of money. That's just my opinion on there. So let me just, before I go even a little bit further here, Jean writes, wanting me to make appointments at the last moment, trying to call me on the phone and answer. No. Okay. So, Jean, and I'm sure for all the other readers that are out there, when somebody wants a $5 reading for one question, then they should go to a person whose services are worth only $5. So, Jean, and this is totally directed to you, I was at a festival 2 years ago, and a person, I was vending, and I had other readers with me, and when I charge a festival rate, it's like $25, so it's half the price, and it's for a 10 or 15 minute reading, and it, you know how it is with a festival. You have to do a lot of readings because a lot of people are waiting for you. And I had my price, I had it on a whiteboard right in front of my tent, and a person had the nerve to come up to me and says, "Why would anybody spend that money with you? That's too expensive. They can to have a $10 reading with me." So then I told this person, I said, "Well, then they should have a $10 reading with you." And she got upset at me and walked away. You have to value your services. Cheaper is not always better. Somebody that is that inexpensive, and again, we're talking about somebody who has a store, somebody who really, has to make a buck. Okay, this is still a business. And who is not a shyster, because a lot of times you get these $10 readings and it's $300 for the candle that they're going to pray over. All right, those are the people that make us look bad. All right, both the readers and the clients. So, Jean, you are such a good reader. You do your tarot readings, you do the junk readings and the rune readings. You're a very intuitive person. Why would somebody ask you to do a $5? You know what? After that money gets transferred over to you, it's $3 after the fees. So the electricity in your room costs more than that. So why would you give your services for free? And to be honest with you, I tell that to people, and I have to be very blunt. You want a $5 reading? Then go down to or a $10 reading, go down to someone else who offers that. Because that's not how it works. So I'm just going to look at some of the questions. Okay, I charge $5 15-minute reads. My clients have been charged. So tell me a little bit more. $5 for a 15-minute reading. Okay, so Cheryl, that works for you. I hope you're not offended by what I was saying. I'm using that as an example because Jean is also down in Florida, so our thoughts are with her. But it costs so much more to transfer the money that after $5, again, if you're using PayPal or Square or any of those other things, unless it's face-to-face, but when I do a 15 to 20-minute reading, it's between 20 and 25 in my area. Alrighty, just to give you a heads up on that. Boundaries are sexy. Ooh, I like that one. I like that. There were some great ones here. Great questions. Oh, Bernadette, you should charge more. Thank you. I think there's also another thing that when a reading is very inexpensive, you're associated with those people that are kind of charlatans, if you get what I'm saying. I'm going to say, Cheryl, that it's at least true in New York and New Jersey. So there are like troops of people. Listen to this. There were troops of people all around here. And they open up in houses or they open up in buildings, and you'll see, and they usually have the hand in the window and all that, and they advertise, psychic, big boards. And they usually stay for about 6 months to a year. And usually they'll fix your car in the street too, mind you, fix your dents and all that. And then they get in trouble, they'll run out by the town, and then they open up somewhere else. And sometimes they'll open up, and their families or groups of people, they'll open up in 3 or 4 different places, and then they get what they can and then move on to the next. Be aware of that, okay? And again, they'll say it's a psychic reading or it's an astrology reading, and then they try to lure you in. And I'm sure there are many people out there that know what I'm talking about. No, these people come to me for readings normally, and then they call me and ask a question for $5. No, and I get that. I would say the only way that would almost be okay is if it's a good friend who's in dire need of something. All right, but again, it's your time and your effort and money. Because what happens is people then become so dependent on you that they don't want to make their own decisions. And then you're responsible for the decisions they made. So there may be, remember, your time is precious to you, and many of us have very little time. So if you feel you should do it, then you should do it if they're in dire need of something. You know what I mean? So I think that's the best way that I can put it. Please, everybody chime in. Do you think I am being too crazy? Cheryl, personally, if you're asking my personal opinion, yeah, I do. But again, I'm not telling you, alrighty? So you also, I'm hoping that in the chat room you all can help Cheryl with this question too. So there's a bunch of other readers here, by the way. So if you can also answer Cheryl as well, because I think $5, like I said, you know, it's not very much, you know, at that point. So think about it. Now, let me look at all of these. Oh, Sabrina, that's a good point. So root work is different than tarot and psychic readings. Yes, I totally agree. And she just sent somebody there for a 2-hour reading. So you were so good, Jean, which I know that you are. I do 2-hour readings. I've done longer. So what I wind up doing is that this is my set fee per hour. And then when I do long readings, because somebody really has something very specific to talk about, or they haven't seen me in a year, and I'll do like what I call a birthday reading, and then we go into, you know, family and friends and all that. I've done that. So that's great. So Jean, it's almost like that story I told you. I did a free reading for somebody, and then now she's been coming to me for years. So you have to judge, you know, your own intuition there as to whether or not you should or should not do it if a person is in need. So I get that. Yeah. Again, Cheryl, I want you to think about that. But also, other readers chime in on this. So it's Cheryl, and I think she needs a little help as far as gauging what her worth is as far as readings here. So, yes. Oh, you know what, Chris? You make a very good point. The people who make us look bad are often the ones that tell people they are cursed. What do you think about that one? Think about that one. Oh, that is just like, that just drives me nuts. Boy, I'm having a hard time getting all these questions here. It's great. Not for nothing, but with all the money we spend on classes and cards to get better and learn why we charge so little. Good point, Dawn. Very good point. I didn't even think about that. This is why I'm so excited about doing this. Hi, Hannah. It's good to see you. Hey, Zuli. We have some really great questions going on. If you don't set your boundaries, so that's another one, Jean, because you are setting boundaries at times. And it's the same thing with you, Cheryl, because perhaps people, after a while, they expect a $5 reading when you know that your time is worth more. But now they're going to go, well, you did it for me, or you did it for Joe Schmo for so little. Why are you charging me more? You know. So, as I've mentioned, people will come to me and say, well, that person will do it for half the price. And I'm going, then I hope you have a good reading, and you should get it for half the price. That set a boundary right then and there, because I don't mean to come off as being egotistical, but you do have to set your boundaries, because you're hoping that when you work with a client, you want them to be a good client. And what I mean by that is they know what to expect from you. They know how good you are. After a while, and I always tell this to my clients, I'm teaching them how to ask a question clearly so they get the most out of their readings. Because I don't, you know, if somebody just says, okay, tell me about my life, and I'm like, you're going to waste your time. Give me some questions. Am I reading on your children? Am I reading on your job? I just want to see what comes out. And I'm like, it doesn't work that way. Not really. I might do that with a friend, and we're just trying to sort things out. But if it's a perfect stranger, and I'm not fishing, it's just that if somebody's going to spend $100 with me, well, we should get specific questions, and I'll work with that. I do that a lot with Lenormand. If it's a total blank reading, which is fine, total blank, I'll put down everything as I see it, give them my opinion. Some people will go, well, that didn't answer my question at all. I said, well, you didn't give me a question. So right now, this is touching on multiple things, but it's not necessarily giving me a breakdown on any one issue. It's just giving me an overview of a lot of things that are going on. And then they go, oh, and then it kind of works from that. I know that there are a lot of people that work blank all the time, and I've done it many a time. But after a while, if they come back, they realize that they could have gotten more if they were at least thinking about one question, or at least the reading was about their career. They don't have to tell me about it, but at least they were thinking about it, and then I can touch on that, So again, then I'm just talking about my style and the way that I work. Most of the time, if I'm working with Lenormand, there's a question. If I'm working with tarot, or they just want something very, very general, then I'll do that as well. It all depends on what my client wants. So let me look at this. That's how people take advantage. That's good. Good. Please answer one another. This is just wonderful. Hey, Erica. Hello, Mike. Jean, I remember you telling me about setting boundaries. Yes. Boundaries is a huge thing, because after a while, people depend on you so much that they overstep their boundaries. And so that's just the human nature. I'm not going to say that each individual person is trying to, get over on you or anything. It's just human nature. Sometimes people just don't want to think, or they're too emotional about things, but that's where studying psychology, I think, is an important thing. So you understand how to work with people, and, how to make a situation a little bit more palatable for them. In other words, you want them to be relaxed in a session. I'll help clients that are really, really worked up. Okay. I go on these tangents, ADHD. I have read on very, very heavy subjects. Okay? And these are subjects that people don't want to talk about, and I'm sure I'm speaking for a lot of readers in here, they come to us as readers to have a safe space to talk to people, alrighty? It could be issues on cheating, or somebody was murdered, or sexual abuse, physical abuse. I've read on all of those things, and it is hard. That's why I say you should, try to understand how to work with people and how to deliver information in a way that's palatable. If somebody asks my opinion, I will give it to them, but otherwise, I'm neutral. I'm Switzerland, and I won't say you were wrong and you were wrong and you were wrong. I'll explain what the card says and my opinion about the card and what I see, and I'll discuss things out. But it's to your advantage to understand how to work with people. It's not as easy as memorizing stuff in a book and then giving that information out. So, hello, Jill. Zuli, it's good to see you again. I haven't seen you in a while. And, okay, I want to suggest a flip side. I think when people are paying, there is a tendency to want to tell them what they want to hear. Bringing the metaphysical to the mundane can be tricky. Very good points. I think that is excellent. You're right, and there are people that come to me that are not witches, and they're obviously somewhat metaphysical, but they are not witches, they are not pagans, they I would say most of them are at least spiritual, but we can't bring, I don't bring a religious aspect into it. I don't, work that way unless a person who is of that ilk comes in and wants that from me. Most of the time, again, I'm Switzerland, and so I work with many different people of many different religions and paths. And I try to make it as neutral as possible. Bringing the metaphysical to the mundane can be tricky. And I agree with that. And that's where the psychological aspect will help. Because to me, science is metaphysical. I know a lot of people will bark at me when I say that, but at one time, magic and science were one and the same. Okay. So think about that one. That's a whole other show down the line. I'm just checking the time. We've already been at this for 45 minutes. I'm going to end it at the hour. Alrighty. So I agree that finding that common ground makes an awful lot of stuff. Hey, Danny, it's good to see you. All right, Michelle, I think $5 says, I'm new in reading Tarot, but it makes me think the reader doesn't know their stuff. That's a good point. That's a very good point. How about that one? So if somebody perhaps says, I do readings for $5, you think, well, maybe they don't know what they're doing, or they're just starting out or something like that. Maybe that's the case too. I didn't even think about that. So that's the best thing about this show here. People are new to readings. They feel uncomfortable charging money. You're absolutely right. There is one thing I did learn about something. It's called exchange of energy. Okay, so suppose you're not comfortable with exchanging money. I have a store. Okay, I need to pay bills, otherwise I can't. Breed's Closet would not be open because that's mainly what I do. All right, but if there is no exchange of green, all right, which is money, then maybe there's an exchange of another reading, or maybe there's an exchange of another service, such as bartering, which most people are okay with. Maybe there's an exchange of energy that way, but energy should never go out one way. This is my opinion. So, and I always taught that. In fact, I was taught that by both my high priest and priestess and my medicine woman, because I also participate in Native American practice. So the exchange of energy should always be there, one for the other. If you give it one way, then you're drained, and there's nothing to replenish you. So there should always be an exchange one way or the other. So you have to decide, what that means here. Alrighty? And hello, Debbie. I'm looking at Tina. Hello. We got some awesome people here. Too many to even mention here. There's a lot of people on here today, so it's really nice to see this. Yep, Debbie, it's good to see you. Well, hello, people. Wow, I'm surprised to see so many people here. So those are some of the ideas, to get you started, because it's kind of like I wanted to start at the root before we even get into others. Now, people, how many of you are readers? Like, give me a thumbs up or a heart, or just say me, so that the other clients here, or the other customers here, or other people here know who you are. And what I would do is, yes, absolutely, Jean. What I would do is put your websites up, if you have a website, or a way to get in contact with others. There's many fine ones here. I will give you my information as well if you're looking for something. But if you do with me, because I do get very busy, contact me through Facebook or email. In fact, you know what? Even better yet, I'm thinking that which way would be the best. Contact me, personal message through Facebook. And I do readings by Skype. I do readings in person. I do phone readings and email readings. So you already know my pricing. So if you want to do that, you can also book online on my website, and that's breedscloset.com. all you other readers, put your information there and see what you've got going on there, and take it from there. Now, I do have my cards, and Jean, you inspired this because you asked me to draw a couple of cards. Oh, okay, Dorothy. Oh my gosh, it's good to hear from you, hon. Jean inspired this last time because she asked me if she would need to be evacuated because she is in Florida. And if you remember the last time we did this, it was a no. And thank goodness. So it looks as if the hurricane is moving out a bit. So does anybody have a quick question for me? I will do the best. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Before I do that, think about your question. I was giving good questions. Okay. So, Shireen, this is from you. You write, when reading the tarot, if you usually read the cards intuitively, how come when you are trying to do a reading, like you can't interpret the card? Oh, okay. So in other words, you're doing the card. Shireen, tell me if I'm right. Basically, what you're trying to say is you're doing your card readings, you do them intuitively, but when you work with certain people, it's like there is a block. How do you do that? Or I hope I have that right, Shireen. Okay, please. I hope I have that right. And if I have that right, the way I would do that is to literally tell the client, there is a block. I am not getting information. I've told people, like, okay, if you're testing me, now I can't read. It's not happening. There is nothing. Or you can even, Shireen, try a different deck, because maybe that deck doesn't work for that person. So there were some ways of doing that, and see if that'll work. I hope, everybody, I hope I made sense when it came to that. So if you're having a block with a client, how do you overcome that? The next question, Elizabeth Ann wrote, and she writes, how do you handle touchy subjects such as death, infidelity, criminal behavior when they come up in a reading? Now, I touched on that a little bit. So Liz, if you're watching that, you heard what I said with that. Alrighty. Great, Shireen. Awesome. Great. So with tough subjects, if it's a health issue, there is nothing wrong with telling somebody, when was the last time you got a checkup? What am I saying? I said, did I say that? And I'm snarky when I do my readings too. So any of you who know me, I'm that way. But if I see a health issue, I'll go like, girl, when was the last time you went to the doctor and got a checkup? Well, why? I said, because you got bad habits. You're smoking. If you see that there's something going on here, do you smoke? Are you a diabetic? You don't ask that. Okay, what I'm saying is there are ways to do that, because if I see a health issue, I'll say, go get a checkup, will you? Oh, well, why? I said, it's showing that you need to go just get a checkup, and at least if there's nothing there, no harm done. You know what I mean? So you see how I did that? You need to do it anyway. You already told me you had a family history or something. Go get checked out, or do something like that. If it comes to infidelity, a person always knows. I don't care what anybody says, and I'll actually say, if they're asking me about infidelity, I'll go like, why did you come to me for this? I'm role-playing here. Did you really just ask me that question? Well, yeah, I did. I want you to read on that. And I'm like, well, you just told me that you believe that they're fooling around. They gave me that question. They gave me the answer to that question. So I'll go and say, well, if you're asking me about infidelity, you already know what's happening. There's a problem in the relationship already. All right? So you see how I did that? You see how I delivered the information? You will always know if there's infidelity going on. You really will. Don't be one of those that I told you where this woman was told that her husband was, and it shocked her because she had no feeling. We know. So you get the yes, Hillary, but we love snarky, don't we? And Chris, be careful about being too direct. Alrighty, because if you don't know the person, you don't know how much they can take. So again, there goes that. So for instance, I have really, really bad joints, right? I have RA, I have a lot of issues with my joints. I'm born with a couple of different issues. So if somebody, and they see a health issue come up, how are they going to deliver that to me? Alrighty? So they go, again, when was last time you went to a doctor? Do you have health insurance? You get how I did that. So it almost becomes a conversation, and then they get the message. Never say somebody you're going to die. Please. Never say to somebody in absolutes when it comes to subjects. It's unethical. Don't do it, because they give up on things. They will give up. They'll say, well, since that's happening anyway, I could do what I want. So suppose somebody's a severe diabetic and you told them that they were going to die. Okay, well, that means they will eat whatever they want because it doesn't matter. It means they won't take care of themselves. Do you really want that on your head? Do you really want that on your shoulders? It's an ethical thing. You know what I mean? Boy, I got family coming on here. That is just like, it's great. I love this. Compassion is absolutely right. Oh, Hillary, she writes, I am not a doctor, but here is what the cards say. That is awesome. So it's true, especially with certain cards that are easier to see. I'll go and say, well, let me show you those pentacles, okay? And pentacles is money, and it's also associated with the element of earth. What is he doing? You know, it looks like he's walking in this field of pentacles and, you know, everything. So if pentacles has to do with money, and we're talking about an earthy aspect, I'll describe that card to them. And usually describing the card will help them get the message, especially if it's somebody who has been coming to you for a long time. So it's a tough thing. I don't ever tell somebody that there's a curse on them. Give me a break, will you? Just don't. And I'm going to pull back a little bit too. Tarot is not a religious thing. You could be a witch and not do the tarot. There are people that use pendulums and don't use divination at all. Tarot is not a religious practice. It can be a religious practice if you incorporate it into it. But there are people that do the tarot and cards and everything else, and they're not witches, they're not pagans, they are Catholic or Christian or whatever, Buddhist. It doesn't matter what it is. You could be atheist and still use the tarot, because most atheists, since they don't have the spiritual aspect, or they're very into the earth or Gaian, will just say, well, it's their own energy coming through their cards, and psychologically they know what the symbols mean, and it helps them with a situation. Alrighty, so make sure that you separate the two, unless of course somebody wants that aspect. So if somebody else is a witch and they come to me and they want that aspect and they want me to do more that way, I will do it. But tarot is not a religious practice. Is there a difference between well, you know what? That's the next show. Alrighty. But think about a couple of these things. Readers, make sure you continue putting your information up. I'm thinking about putting together a directory of some sort. I'm still working things out, alrighty, because I really love to network people together, and maybe we can direct readings to one person, direct readings to another. We'll see what we've got. But I am going to draw a card. I'll draw one card, and just gives you an idea how this intuitive stuff works. What if they've been hexed? Guess what? If they've been hexed, it's because they believe they've been hexed. How about that one? Now, Rain, we can talk personally a bit more. What if they've been hexed? A shaman asked me if I knew how to protect myself because more than one person was attacking me. Well, then you believe it. All right. So, Rain, think about this. There's a lot of people that don't like a metaphysical shop in their town, which means there's a lot of people who had, bad energy. I've had people talk about me in the papers. I've heard everything under the sun over these 20 odd years. Who cares? So what I just did was direct that energy away. You get what I'm saying? So it depends on what you consider a hex. But at this place and time, you're a good person. And it doesn't matter what those people who are attacking you believe or say. I carry protection. I have tourmaline on me. I keep my labradorite on me. I have mirrors. I have my wards in place. Gina Martini, if you're listening to that would be great. And I do what I feel I need to do for protection. I wear my pentacle, this is a pentagram, but I have my pentacles. If you wear a cross, that's protection. If you wear the Jewish star, that is protection. There were all sorts of symbols that represent protection. It's all about your intent. Remember that. So never give anybody that power over you by believing in hex on that, okay? There are psychologically things that you can do, absolutely. As again, I always have my protection on me. In fact, this might sound a little strange, but this bead, my son passed away last year, and his ashes are with me all the time. I believe he watches over me and protects me. So I have him with me as well. So he's my ancestor, and my grandmother is my ancestor. With all that I got around me, I'm good to go. So you have to believe in that, Rain, okay? There's a whole other thing there. I'm in that situation. See, this is great. This is what I want to see, people talking to one another. So I'm going to pull a card because we have to kind of end this today. But before we end it, please, readers, if you would contact me with your information as well. You can let me message me on Facebook, and I'm thinking about doing that on my website and putting up a directory of some sort. I already have a tarot and divination Facebook page, so I'm not going to open up another thing, but we can add that to it as well as my website. So I'm working on a couple of different things. Make sure in the comments you have a way for the clients to contact you. We'll talk about different forms of divination as well. And clients out there, if you're interested in readings, let me know what kind of readings you're looking for, and then I can direct you as to which reader would be the best for you. Alrighty, so readers, if you're out there, let me know what kind of readings you do as well. Alrighty, so I'm going to do like an advice card until the next show. How's that one? Alrighty. And then I'll throw a question out there, and then I'll add that, and then we'll end it. So advice until the next. So I'm using my Sacred Rose deck. Okay. So. Alrighty. So I have the Queen of Pentacles. And again, that is the Sacred Rose deck. So I'm glad I can use this here. And you can see how vibrant the colors are. She has the pentacle in one hand, and you can see the beautiful flowers and everything. To me, queens are all about standing in your own power. I am reading this intuitively, okay? So I'm not going by the book. I'm reading this. So there's a lot of growth. A lot of things happen. Purple is the symbol of, or to me, the color of spirituality. So to me, I have to stand in my own power, in our own power, because this is for all of us until the next reading, the next show next Monday. Maybe I can do it back out here. I don't know. If not, it'll be at the store, but I kind of like being outside. So that's what I picked for the advice card for all of us until next week. And I will pick one question. So let me see what we've got. Let's see what we've got. Come on. Not seeing any questions here. One question, and then I'm going to get one question you want me to read on, and then I will be on my way and close down the show. for today. Okay, if I'm not getting any questions, I'm not going to do a reading for you. So let me do one card reading. If not, I'm sure the other readers here, when we are offline, will be able to do that for you. Okay, so... Oh, thanks. Should I stay or should I go? Quoting The Clash now. I'm an old punk. You can't do that, okay? Just to let you know. All right, so nobody's asking. So I pulled the one card, and that's a great advice for the following week. I like the smiley faces I'm getting up there now. So, people, you are awesome. I love doing this. Ooh, you even went slightly over. I absolutely adore talking about the tarot and want more feedback. So in the, oh, thank you, Sabrina. Oh, all right, hold on. We got one. Are you on the right career path? Other readers, it would be fun if you want to chime in. I'm going to pull a card on this. Okay, Shireen, I hope you can see that. That is the Two of Cups. So, for anybody who doesn't know, yes, we are talking about love here. But if you are not talking about love, the Two of Cups can represent a relationship. And what that means, the relationship with her career path or even with herself. So to me, it looks as if you're on the right track, Shireen. I hope that helps. But emotions are a part of it, so I'm hoping that it's something that you love to do or will love to do. You get where I'm coming from. Sometimes you're studying for something and you don't love it until you absolutely do it. But I'm going to say that that's a yes because it's a very positive card. Alrighty. So, you're welcome. You are all just so awesome. Alrighty. It's a beautiful ending. Thank you, Chris. You're making me smile. You're all making me smile. It's really fun to do this. So again, get me all that information, both readers and clients, because I think we can all help each other out here. Isn't that kind of awesome to be able to do that? You know, go figure. So blessings. Again, my prayers are out to everybody in the Bahamas and anybody affected by this hurricane. Please light a candle, put your good intentions out, and really, we're sending you a big blanket to hold you tight. And I'm already hearing horrible things about what's happening in the Bahamas. In the Bahamas, I can't even, because it's tear-jerking. I've been watching CNN all day today. So send some good energy to everybody down there. And I'm sending good energy to all of you out there. And help me out. Help me with this show. Tell me what you want. So you can put that in the event page. And if you're interested, we have Breed's Closet Tarot and Divination Forum. I'd like to really get that kicked up. So you can ask questions in there. And there's a lot of readers in there as well. All right. You are all, oh yeah, Jean, I think I am. I think I am. So you're all pretty awesome. This hour flew by. I know we could go on a lot further. So all the best. Enjoy the rest of your Labor Day. Have some good food. Get a couple of good hugs because we can all use it. And people, be good to one another. All right. Mwah.